Today we're looking at James 5 verses 7 to 11. It says this: Be patient then, brothers and sisters, until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, patiently waiting for the autumn and spring rains. You too, be patient and stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near. Don't grumble against one another, brothers and sisters, or you will be judged. The judge is standing at the door. Brothers and sisters, as an example of patience in the face of suffering, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. As you know, we count blessed as those who have persevered. You have heard of Job's perseverance and have seen what the Lord finally brought about. The Lord is full of compassion and mercy. This is another section in the book of James, where James is talking about patience and perseverance and endurance, especially in the place of suffering and trials. And he here wants to let believers know that God's coming is near. It's going to happen. It's imminent. And so the thing that he encourages several times in this little section is patience. Patience. It's interesting because the Greek word for patience comes from two different words. It comes from makros and thumos. Makros means long, so just having something that's really long. And thumos usually translates as passions, but it can also be translated as a wick, as in a wick of a candle. So you put those two words together, and patience in the Bible means having a very long wick. It means that whatever you're going through, it's like your wick is being lit. So if you're going through suffering or a trial or a really hard time, it's like someone has lit the wick of your candle. And that candle is obviously going to burn, and eventually it's going to burn all of the candle, right? But having the idea of being patient, having a long wick, means that the wick just goes out and out and out. And so even though someone might have lit the wick of your candle, it's going to be a long time before that fire actually gets down to the wax to start burning it. The idea here is that James is encouraging people to be patient, to have a better perspective of having this long wick. That though these things are hard and difficult, they are not the end. In fact, the suffering that you are experiencing is actually just a very small window of time when it comes to eternity. And here James frames it in the arrival of God, when God comes back to judge. And knowing in your brain that that day when God comes back to judge is near, and then you have the rest of eternity, forever and ever and ever, to look forward to, that period of suffering is actually quite minuscule. It's tiny. And so James encourages people that, yes, this is hard, but have a long wick. It's not the end. And the encouragement here is that God knows and sees what his followers are going through. And those people who are the oppressors, who are doing harm, one day they are going to be called in account to their action. So James uses this picture of like a farmer who knows that he's planted the seeds, and one day, because of the sun and the rain and him doing the work, those seeds are going to blossom up from the ground sometime soon. It's going to happen. And James wants to think of those people who are doing you harm and you're suffering like that one day those people, those things are going to spring up from the ground, and when they do, they're going to be ready to be harvested or judged, because God is a God who is gracious and compassionate, full of mercy. So I don't know what you're going through today or this week. I don't know how badly that has affected you. Whether it's your health, whether it's a situation at work or with family or whatever. You may be going through something, and it may even feel like a very long time of suffering or a trial. But James's advice here is still the same. He encourages you and I to have a very long wick, to understand that though this suffering is real and harsh, it is actually only a fragment of time compared to all of eternity, and that God sees and knows and will respond soon to the suffering that we find ourselves in. So, wherever you're at today, be patient. Have a long wick. See you later.